Hey guys, welcome back. Or if you're new here, I'm Daisy, and today we're going to be talking about student athletes specifically on how to balance school, sports, extracurriculars, and still have a social life. Sounds hard, right? I know. I used to feel the same. But I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that complicated. Whether you're studying for a test, rushing to practice, or just trying to find time to relax, I've found some real tips to help you juggle all of it. Trust me. I've been there. You don't want your grades to drop, but you also want to give 110% on the court and still, have a life outside of school. It sounds like a lot, but I've found ways to make it work. So stick around, because these tips might just change how you handle everything. First things first, you need to get organized, and I can't stress this enough. Planning ahead is the key to having balance. I used to say I'll figure it out as I go, but that's when I ended up overwhelmed and behind in school. And now, I make it a habit to plan my entire week on Sundays, so the rest of the week is simple. Here's what I do. I sit down with my planner on Notion. You could use a journal, Google Calendar, Notion, or whatever works for you, and I basically map out my week. I write down and look at everything, like when my classes are, when my practices or games are, and when I have any upcoming tests, quizzes, or homework. Breaking it down like this makes it so much easier to manage my time, and I can see if I have any extra time to fit in last-minute plans. Plus, at least for me, it feels really good to check things off your to-do list. Consistency is key. If you aren't doing it often, you'll eventually forget to revise and add in new things, and it won't become a habit for you to plan your schedule. And also, don't only plan for school, sports, and extracurriculars. Make sure you're factoring in breaks and downtime. If you don't, you will 100% burn out. Think of it like saving for something you really want instead of buying a dupe. Taking time to plan means you can face everything head-on in the week and avoid any unnecessary stress. Pro tip: set small, realistic goals for each day. For example, instead of just writing study for history, break it down into smaller tasks, like review notes or watch a lecture video. This makes the workload feel less broad and more manageable. And you can always customize your planner to fit your aesthetic and make it fun. Making it aesthetic may actually make you more motivated to use it. So, now that you've got your plan in place, the next thing is learning how to make the most of your time. This is where most people get lost. You probably think that you have plenty of time, so I can always do it later. But no, you'd waste your time scrolling on social media and lose track. But guess what? As they say, time waits for no one. Here's what I've learned: if you're busy, those little moments in between really count. Like if you've got 20 minutes before practice starts or a free period at school. Don't waste that time. You can knock out a homework assignment, study for your next test, or review your notes. It might not seem like much, but it makes a huge difference. I've also found that it helps to have small goals throughout the day. Maybe it's finishing a math assignment before practice, or reading a chapter during lunch. Breaking your tasks into smaller pieces makes it more manageable and less overwhelming. And don't forget, multitasking can be your friend. Use the time you're waiting for something like practice or a ride to squeeze in a little work. Over time, those minutes really add up. Another game changer: time blocking. I set specific time blocks for each task. So instead of saying I'll study after school, I'll block off 3 to 4 p.m. for studying. When you have a set window, you're more likely to stay focused and get it done quickly, without distractions. This one's really important. You need to learn to prioritize. There are going to be several times when you'll have to choose between studying for a test or going to practice, or choosing between a school project and hanging out with friends. The truth is, you can't do everything all the time. So you've got to decide what matters most to you in that moment. Remember, some things are out of your control. So no matter how much you want to be in 2 places at once, you're going to need to make a decision. In your case, there may be no right or wrong answer. For me, school comes first the majority of the time. If I know I have a game and a big test coming up, I'll look at my schedule and figure out how to juggle both things. Sometimes that means waking up an hour earlier to study before practice, or doing a little bit of studying each day, so I'm not cramming the night before. Make use of the study hall as well. Study as much as you can before going to practice. Also, give yourself permission to make tough calls and stick by them. Sometimes you'll have to miss practice or turn down a social event, and that's okay. Prioritizing doesn't mean sacrificing the other. Always see if you could make up a missed test during your lunch, and try and reschedule any missed plans with your friends. Knowing where and when to give your energy is important. Think of it like this: if you handle your priorities first, you'll have more time to actually enjoy everything else without that lingering feeling of I should be doing something else. This obviously doesn't mean Drop your friends and bury yourself in school. I just mean to find a balance. And honestly, if you ever feel guilty about saying no or missing out on something, just remember that short-term sacrifices lead to long-term gains. Your friends shouldn't be making you feel bad about missing events either, especially if it's something important that you ended up doing instead. It's about thinking ahead. Do you want to stress and scramble at the last minute, or take control now so you can actually enjoy those events later? Okay, I know balancing all of this will get overwhelming at some point. There are going to be times when it feels like too much, and you might feel like giving up, and that's okay. Here's the thing. Don't forget why you're doing this, whether it's your sport, your club, or your academics. You're doing these things because they're really important to you. Keeping that in mind is key. It's okay to have tough days, but don't let them bring you down. You're not going to give your all every single day. Just try your hardest, and try and have fun with it. Again, don't spend all your time on sports and school. Remember to factor in your friends and family. Don't stick yourself in a hole where you don't make time for them. A social life is just as important as academics. For me, my team is like a second family. We definitely work hard, but we also have a ton of fun together, even when we don't win, which is a lot. When you can enjoy what you're doing, it makes the balancing so much easier. So don't forget to celebrate the little wins and give yourself a break every now and then. And remember, staying positive isn't pretending everything's perfect. It's about pushing through the challenges and keeping a good mindset. Things might not always go your way, and that's okay. That's just life, and it happens to every single one of us. What matters is how you bounce back and how you keep going even when it's hard. Give yourself a break, keep smiling, and remember that you'll get better at it the more you do it. At the end of the day, it's all about perspective. If you focus too much on what's hard, it's easy to feel defeated. The key is to enjoy the ride while you're still on it. Alright, that's it for today, guys. I hope these tips helped you out. Just remember, it's all about planning, using your time wisely, and staying focused on what matters most. Or drop any tips of your own in the comments. I'd love to hear what's working for you. And if this video helped you, even just a bit, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe so you don't miss any future video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.